Hey, welcome everybody. So this is our second Tuesday Morning Uke Club, and we're going to learn something about the ukulele, and we're going to play some songs and have some fun. It's only going to be an hour. We're going to go from 11 till noon. An awesome exercise for when you've been playing, your hands get a little sore. So let's bring our thumb and press end of our first finger, stretch out, sort of like ukulele, stringed instrument player yoga. Second finger, stretch out. Third finger, stretch out. Fourth finger, stretch. And then come back down. Do this again. Almost done. Okay, good. All right, shake it out, shake it out. There should be no tension whatsoever. Compact little instrument. The big wooden box, this is called the body. This is the body of the uke, all right? And the top here, this is called the head, all right? The head is connected to the body by a neck, all right? And on this surface of the neck is called the fretboard. And it's called the fretboard because there's a number of metal wires that cross the fretboard. And these wires are called frets. They're made of metal, okay? At the other end of the body, there's a bridge. And there are a couple other little pieces for giggles. This is called the saddle. And this piece of plastic up here is called the nut. And there are 4 strings on the ukulele. And the ukulele, the strings are balanced or sit on top of the saddle and the nut, okay? We make a sound with the ukulele is we press on the strings. And there's a variety of techniques we'll cover today for pressing on the strings, but we can just take our thumb and just hit the strings, just press the strings, brush the strings. Don't pull on them too hard, brush them, right? And you'll see the strings vibrate. And in fact, even with just one string, if you feel the body, you can feel the whole instrument, the whole body of the instrument will vibrate. And so that vibration makes the sound of the ukulele. This hole in the middle is called the sound hole. And these knobs up here, you see that there's some gears and some knobs. These are called tuners. And sometimes they'll be called tuning machines, but they're called tuners. And by turning the tuners one direction or the other causes the string to be loosened, the tension of the string to be loosened or tightened. Sort of like a fishing reel. And you pull on it and the line wraps around a spindle. And by turning one way, you pull the string tight. Other way, you make the string go loose. And so if the string gets tighter, the pitch or the sound string goes up. If it gets looser, then the string pitch goes down, all right? So one of the first things we do, the first thing we should do before we get together and play ukes is we should tune our ukulele. There's two good ways to do it. You will get a clip-on tuning device, all right? And they come in all shapes and sizes, kind of looks, and it clips onto the head of your uke, like this, and has a little sensor in it that when you turn it on and you press and you make a string vibrate, it listens for the vibration of the string, and it tells you. If you don't have one of these clip-on tuners, and you can get them on Amazon or for like $8 or whatever, or you can spend a lot, but simple is good. You can also use a tuning app on your smartphone, and you can download these. And a good one is one that Melanie is using. It's called Guitar Tuna. And they all basically do the same thing. They listen to your uke through the microphone of the phone and tell you the pitch. And often a tuner, so every uke speaks with a built-in song. And it's, my dog has fleas. And my singing isn't exactly in pitch, but it's a, my dog has fleas. So if we take our thumb and we start with the string that's closest to our chin, and let's just brush our thumb across the strings. So this is going to be G, C, E, A. My dog has fleas. And so once you've been playing for a little while, just one strum, and you'll know if you're in business. Okay. Otherwise, it's a good thing to once a day, do a tune. I found on my uke, it's the E string. Over time, the strings will stay in tune, but the E string is the one I always have to tune. It might be just my playing style. When you get a brand new uke, or you put strings on it, change the strings will stretch. So on a brand new uke or a new set of strings, it will take a while for the strings to settle down and be in tune. All right, you may have to tune frequently for a while. All right, but eventually the strings will settle down. Okay, all right. So we talked about strings. If you hear me mentioning string number one is ironically the string that's farthest away from your chin. This is string number one, then string number two, string number three, and string number four. Four is one closest to your chin. Okay. We'll talk about fingers of your left hand. All right. And we play. You have a thumb. First finger, pointing finger is your first finger. Middle finger, it's rude, and then ring finger, and then pinky. So pinky is finger 4. Yes, thumb 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, an easy way to remember for beginning songs about your fingers is that your first finger plays all the notes on the first fret. Second finger plays all the notes on the second fret. Third finger plays all the notes on the third fret. Fourth finger plays all the notes on the fourth fret. Okay. And you may be thinking, oh, these frets, what does it mean to play at the first fret? You do not want to put your finger on top of the fret wire. What you want to do is you want to be pressing your uke, the strings, in between the fret wires and as close to the middle in between as you can. Okay. So if I say put your first finger at the first fret, we say place it in that space between the nut and the first fret, right in the middle. All right. If we say place your second finger at the second fret, you're going to place your finger in the middle on the first string between the first fret and the second fret. This is what we do. And then third finger, fourth finger. All right. That's what we're going to do. You may wonder, how hard do I need to press the strings? You do not need to press the string all the way down to the surface of the fretboard. We actually are only press the string down until the string makes contact with the fret wire. And if you just take your middle finger and press at the third fret, actually take your ring finger, take the third finger, press at the third fret of the first string. And we'll play this chord. This is going to be a C chord. But if you listen to it, press down, and you can actually feel it when it comes in contact with the fret wire. You press it down a certain distance and it makes contact. You don't have to press it any further than that. So let's do a quick demonstration of what that means. I'm going to play the first string. Nice clear sound, okay? Now I'm going to put my third finger at the third fret of the first string, and I'm just going to set my finger on top of the string. I'm just going to make contact with the string, but I'm not going to press it. And it's going to thud, 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 thud. It's just going to be mute, right? Now I'm going to keep pressing down, keep pressing down, keep pressing. Oh, I'm starting to make a sound. I can feel when it touches the fret wire, and now I get a clear sound. All right. If I keep pressing, once I got that clear sound, it actually makes the string go out of tune. I don't need to press that far. And what it does, it hurts my finger. Ow. All right. So as part of learning the ukulele, you'll learn how hard do you need to press the strings to get a nice clear sound, and you don't have to press any harder than that. Okay. Oh, what about the right hand? What about the right hand? So for most of what we're going to do today, we can strum. So the act of inducing or causing vibration in the strings is called strumming. All right. And so strumming, we can use just our thumb to just do down strokes, where we start with the string that's closest to our chin, just press it down. Or we can use our 4 fingernails and just go brush. It's a brush strum. All right. Or we could just use one finger, slide down with your fingernail, or brush up. All right. Whenever you do this, I do want to see the strum being directly across the strings, not at a weird angle, but have it so that it's directly across. All right. So most of what we'll do today, we'll probably just use our thumb. Some people also use a pick. All right. And a pick essentially acts as an extension of your index finger's fingernail. And you may find that you like using a pick because it gives you just a little bit more presence and attack when you're pressing a string. So it makes your uke a little bit louder. But traditionally, the uke is played with your fingers. All right. A common error will be to have if you're using your thumb, have your thumb sort of jam underneath the strings. We don't want that. What we want to think about is visualize your strings being like waves on the ocean, all right? And your thumb being a boat that is riding over those waves, right? Your thumb is not, your boat's not crashing through the waves. Because if you crash through the waves, water comes over the bow, gets you wet, it's uncomfortable, you crash around. Whereas if you're riding over, you want to be thinking about brushing the strings and getting a smooth sound, not a harsh sound, right? Smooth sound, this is what we want. I think a good way to think about this is good technique, learning proper technique with your left hand and with your right hand, playing in tune, sets you up for success because it means that you will get a good sound, a nice sound out of your instrument, regardless of whether you have an inexpensive instrument or you have like like some sort of handmade, beauty. Every ukulele, you want to hold your uke accountable for making the best sound that it can make. Okay, and so that's why I think hold your uke accountable for making its best sound. And so. Okay. All right. So we should think about what are some notes and chords. So if we're going to start playing some songs, we need to start making some organized sounds. Okay. There are these things called notes. If I take my thumb, press down on my first string, well, I've just made a sound, and that sound is a note. Just by itself, that sound is a note. This note is actually A. If I press down with my thumb on the second string, that sound is an E. That note, I've just played a note. That's a note called E. On my third string, I've just played a note called C. And on the bottom string, the fourth string, I've just made a note. I've played a note called G. Okay? So note sounds just by themselves are called notes, right? And they have names. We can also, and this is probably what you will do most of the time, you will play chords. And chords are collections of notes that are played simultaneously, all right? And in fact, you guys have already played your first chord. You've made the "My dog has fleas." Well, if you brush across the strings so in one motion, you've just played an A minor 7th chord, which is the basic song, the built-in song of your ukulele. My dog has fleas. All right. And so you can play the chord slowly, or you can play it fast. Okay. So why don't we try a couple of techniques for brushing the strings? So we've just done with our thumb. Sounds pretty nice, right? In general, you should be playing, your uke so that your thumb is brushing just below the base of the neck for its best sound. But don't let yourself not experiment with other sounds. For example, you could play right at the bridge. And notice it has a different sound, right? More trebly, lighter sound, right over the sound hole, kind of nice open sound. As you go up the neck, you get different sounds too, right? But in general, playing right at the base of the neck is typically where you want to be. And so we should actually maybe talk a little bit about holding your ukulele. And the way I think about holding the ukulele, see the sound hole here? the ukulele, the sound hole should be centered on your body somewhere, okay? And I'm going to take my right arm and I'm going to bring it over the top of the right-hand side of my uke, the upper bout here. I'm going to bring my arm over and I can support my uke here, and this is how I'm going to brush. All right, so I'm holding the uke, supporting it against my body, and depending on how you're kind of put together, maybe bring it down lower, but find a comfortable place. Then the neck should be up at a place where you can easily see it, and easily, without fatigue or stress to your wrist, play notes, right? And so something that's the position like this seems to be pretty typical, and I find this comfortable. But if you want to have the uke sit down on your lap, on one of your legs, or if you have a strap can hold it up as well. But in general, where the sound hole is, the sound hole should be centered on your body. Okay, and that, whether you're playing the smallest uke, which is a soprano, or a concert uke, or a tenor, or baritone, seems to work pretty consistently, right? But find something that works for you. A key is have the neck in a position where you won't cause yourself undue stress in terms of, or pain, right? So some people have sore hands. If they have a little bit of arthritis in your hands, find a position that is comfortable for you, and stretch out a lot. Okay, so we played the A minor 7 chord. So let's learn a couple of chords that get us playing some songs. You have actually already played the most common chord, the C major chord. All right, let's take our finger. Well, you know where the thumb's going to go, right? Back the neck. First finger, second finger, third finger, the ring finger of your left hand. We're going to press down at the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And let's take our thumb, go all the way across. There's the C major chord, right? I'll show you some chord charts in a little bit. By default, if you see a chord that is written C or D or F or G, then it's assumed that it is a major chord. And we say major, it has a happy sound, fairly a bright sort of happy sound. We'll also see chords, for example, that have different names like sevenths, or minor chords where there's the letter M written after. So a C minor chord, though, would sound like, which is a sadder. Minor chords have a sadder sound to them, right? So we'll learn C minor chords as well as we need to in our song. But first we'll start off with C major. C major, there you go. Okay, let's try another chord already. All right, so this one shouldn't be too bad to remember. If you have a new uke, I'll nearly guarantee that your uke came with a chord chart. And we'll show an example of a chord chart in a little bit. But there will be all the basic chords you need. And there's a notation for reading them, and we'll get to it in a second. But let's go through, the next chord is going to be the F chord. All right, so F is a really popular chord for the ukulele. And let's work through it. We're going to take our first finger, and we are going to press at the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Okay, 1st fret, take your first finger, press at the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Now take your 2nd finger, and you're going to press at the 2nd fret of the 4th string, the string that's closest to your chin. This is what the F chord looks like. And you do not want to have your fingers touching the 3rd or the 1st strings, right? We want them to just vibrate free. And now, making that, you should have a chord that sounds like this. All right, there you go. You may find when you're playing chords, especially new, that you get what I call thuds and buzzes. Ooh, and they're kind of disappointing to hear because it doesn't sound like this, right? And so thuds and buzzes come from a couple reasons. One, you may not be pressing the string hard enough. So if you hear a thud, find the string where you think the thud's coming from. And here, okay, and maybe I'm not pressing my second, when I'm trying to play F, maybe I'm not pressing my second finger hard enough. Pressing hard enough, now I get rid of that. I get rid of that thud, right? If you get a buzz, maybe your finger has strayed on top of the fret wire and you'll get buzzing. So you want to keep your fingers in between the fret wires, not on top of the fret wires, okay? And you may also get thuds if your finger is lying on top of the strings and muting or muffling a string that needs to be vibrating free, okay? So this is what we have. We want to make sure that our thumb is on the back of the neck and our fingers are coming around curved. So we're trying in general to press down pretty directly with the tips of our fingers. And there is hand strength involved. And if this is your first go round with a stringed instrument, you should expect that you will get some muffling, all right? And so you're going to develop muscle memory and strengthen your fingers. And after playing for a while, you may find initially that it hurts like right in here when you're doing this, right? And just expect it. And it's part of the growing pains. But over time, as your fingers get stronger, you should expect that you'll get nicer sounding chords, right? But don't be distressed if your first chords are have some thuds and buzzes. Okay. So there's the F chord. Now let's move back and forth between the F chord and the C chord. Now, C chord is our third finger at the third fret of the first string, and then the F chord, first finger at the first fret of the second string, and second fret of the fourth string. There we go. And now I'm going to blow your minds by introducing a third chord, the G7th chord. And I'd say 80% of songs for the ukulele can be arranged using the C, F, and G7th chords. So once you learn these first three chords, it opens up an amazing amount of ukulele music for you. Amazing amount of music. And fortunately, the G7th chord isn't the worst to play. So we're going to put our first finger, and we are going to press at the first fret of the second string. Okay. We're going to take our second finger, press at the second fret of the third string, and we're going to take our third finger and we're going to press at the second fret of the first string. So it kind of makes a triangle, all right? Remember your thumb on the back of the neck. And if you have trouble getting that third finger into the second fret, if you're finding you're having a little trouble getting some space, it's okay to move your hand just forward a little bit, just to give yourself a little bit more room to press down like that, all right? And this is how the chord should sound. It's a beauty. It's basic. It's required. This is a requirement, okay? So one of the cool things about G7th, though, is if you're playing the G7th chord, it's pretty easy to go to C, because all we're going to do, we're going to take these two fingers off and slide up with our third finger to the third fret, and there's C. All right? And now let's go back and play G7th again. So our third finger at the second fret of the first string, our first finger at the first fret of the second string, and our second finger at the second fret of the third string. All right. So that first string, that G that's on the fourth string, that's vibrating free. Now, it's not too bad to visualize going to the F chord, because to do that, we're going to take our ring finger off, and we're going to take our second finger and just move it down to the second fret of the fourth string. And with very little motion, we got back to playing F. All right, it's kind of nice. Now, when you're playing F, you can go fairly straightforwardly to G7 by taking your second finger, moving it up to the second fret of the third string, and dropping your ring finger, third finger, at the second fret of the first string. There's G7. And now let's go back to C, take the first two fingers off and slide up. And there we go. So a good exercise to play with your uke is to go C chord, F chord, G7 chord, and back to C, and just kind of make a circle. All right. As part of your practice, you need to get yourself to a position where you can move to these chords with your eyes closed, or in a dark room where you can't see the, you need to be able to develop the muscle memory to move between these three. But once you have those three chords, you're really in business. You're in business with ukulele. A lot of songs are opened up. So how do we find more chords? Where do we find more chords? Well, I'm going to share a picture, okay, with you. I'm going to share a picture called the chord chart. And you may have noticed on my ukulele, I don't get paid for this, but this uke is made by Soundsmith Ukes of Bend, Oregon. And it's kind of nice fun. And when I bought my uke, they included a chord chart in the bag, in the gig bag. So that was pretty cool. But any uke you buy will probably have, they often come with a tuner. They'll probably come with a little booklet that has all of your basic chords and some how to play some basic songs like, Happy Birthday to You and that sort of thing. But so if but anyways, let me open up a chord chart and we can talk through it. Just a second. I'm going to try to find it. Here we go. The Pocket Ukulele Chord Chart. Nice. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at the C chord that we've just learned. There is the chord chart for C. And let me turn my spotlight on. Here's the spotlight. All right, so here we go. The little red spotlight. That's where our third finger is pressing on at the third fret of the first string of your ukulele. Notice the 4 vertical lines. They correspond to the strings of your uke, and the horizontal lines correspond to the frets, all right? So where the dark dot is, that's where finger is pressing down, and in our case for the C chord, that's going to be your third finger, all right? Sometimes a chord chart will have some fingerings to tell you where to put your fingers, but here it's kind of assumed that you'll figure it out, okay? And it's not a bad thing to think that if in the first fret, use your first finger for notes on the first fret, second finger for notes on the second fret, third finger for notes on the third fret. All right, what about these O's here? All right, 3 of them, 3 O's here. Those O's stand for open, and they mean that when you see that string is just played open by itself without pressing down on any of the frets, okay? So if you just play it, so if you play remember the My Dog Has Fleas chord, where we're not pressing on the neck and we're just going, my dog has fleas. Well, that would be O, 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 okay? All right, I'm gonna turn my spotlight off. And let's see, what other chord did we look at? Oh, where's the F chord? Oh, there's the F chord. Okay, check it out. All right, so right here, that is the second fret of the 4th string, and we put our second finger there. Where's my spotlight? Spotlight, there's the first fret of the 2nd string, and we put our first finger there. Here's open, that's the open 3rd string. There's actually a glitch on this chart because there should be an open right there. There should be an O right there because we play that top A string by itself as well. All right, turn off spotlight. And what other chords we want to look at? Let's take a look at the G7th chord. Where's the G? Oh, there's the G7th. All right, so many chords. G7th. And hold on a second, take the eraser and do that. A spotlight, G7th chord. The 4th string is open. First fret, put the first finger at the first fret of the 2nd string. Put your second finger at the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And here you're going to tuck your 3rd finger into the 2nd fret of the 1st string. Okay, and there we go. All right, and I was talking about Uke Society. So ukesociety.com/songs. They host jam sessions, and it's kind of like a worldwide organization. It started in Seattle, and so I use a lot of their songs for teaching, but I also arrange a lot of songs and contribute them up into their archives. So it's kind of like, Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so let's see. The first song we're going to play is a song called Jambalaya. And you use 2 chords, C and G7. So we're going to get some practice jumping between C and G7. Why don't we do a little bit of that practice? Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. And so for our right hand, all we're going to do is we're just going to use our thumb. We're just going to do a downstroke. And for the first time, we'll just do a strum every time the chord changes. Okay. So now I'm going to put a song sheet up. I'm going to share a song sheet, and we'll explain how this works. Just a second. Here we go. All right, sweet. So let's get the spotlight and let's look at a few things. So a couple things. Most song sheets will have the chords that you're going to play. Okay. Oh, look at this one. This C chord doesn't have all the open. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, in some cases, if there's nothing written there, there's no X, assume that it's going to be all open. But it's good form to actually be pretty explicit with marking strings that are played open or are X'd to not be played. An arrangement will often have a strum pattern, and this tells you where you're going to play. In this case, our strum pattern is simply going to be a downstroke with our thumb from the 4th to the 3rd to the 2nd to the 1st string, and we're only going to make the chord when we change. We're only going to strum when we press chords. So here's the chorus of the song. And so there's 2 chords. Here's a C and a G7. The song sheet doesn't make much sense unless you actually already know the song to some extent. So why don't I play it the first time and you'll get a sense for it. So jambalaya and the crawfish pie and the filet gumbo. So did you hear where I changed? I played C. And at gumbo, I changed to the G7 chord. 'Cause tonight I'm going to see my share amigo. So did you see where, 'cause tonight I'm going to see my share amigo. All right. So the chord changes on a particular syllable of the lyric. Okay. Pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and be gay-o. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. All right. So the chords are written kind of phonetically. They are put on. They're placed at the right syllable for singing the song. The first verse goes like this: Goodbye, Joe. Me gotta go. Me oh my oh. Me gotta go. Pull the pirogue down the bayou. My Yvonne, the sweetest one, me oh my oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. All right. So playing this song it's going to really work your movement from C to G7. All right. Not super easy, but you want to develop that muscle memory so that you get to the point where you're reading a chord chart, maybe jamming with other folks, and you're not worrying about where your left-hand fingers are going to go because you're familiar with the basic chords, right? So for this first song, let's play it, and let's see. I think I'm going to stop sharing. No, I have to share because you guys have to see the lyrics. For the next time, as we play these songs, go to ukesociety.com and you can download the PDFs they're all up there in PDF format. And you can put them on your phone or on your tablet or print them off. And they have jam sessions where people just bring binders full of these songs and play together, okay? All right, let's play the song. And we're going to start with the chorus, and then we'll do verse 1, okay? All right, here we go. Jambalaya and the crawfish pie and the filet gumbo, G7. 'Cause tonight I'm going to see my share of me-o. Let's C again. Pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and be gay-o. There's G7. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Me gotta go pull the brook down the bayou. My Yvonne, the sweetest one, me oh my oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Chorus, jambalaya and the crawfish pie and the filet gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of me oh. Pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and be gay-o. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. All right, cool. All right, so there's that one song that really exercises the C and G7 chords, all right? So it's a pretty fun song. Try another song. We're going to do a song that uses the F chord, all right? So now we're experts on C, G7, and F. And one of the beautiful things about G7, C, and F is that you can develop a rhythm moving back and forth between them, right? So G7, all right, first finger at the first fret of the second string, second finger at the second fret of the third string, third finger at the second fret of the first string, and fourth string open. And then to play F, we're taking a ring finger off and then moving our second finger down to the second fret of the fourth string. And watch that thumb coming down, going down the center of the back of the neck. And if you find your thumb coming up, say, don't worry about it. Happens to everyone. It just put it back where it's supposed to be. You'll find that there are chords where you may actually want your thumb to come up a little bit just to maybe help you hold the neck more in, create more stability or just suit your hands a little bit better. But in general, try to keep it all on the back because it really does result in better tone. Okay. All right. Our next song is going to be a Bob Marley song, Three Little Birds. Let's open this one up. And we're at 11:50. We've got 9 minutes to go. Let's try this. Where are Three Little Birds? Three Little Birds. Ah, here we go. All right. All right, so the way this is, so let me get my spotlight. Spotlight. Here's C, the C chord, F chord, G. So this is, I'll let you guys use the G7th chord for this one, all right? G is a chord we will learn next time. Play wherever you see G in this song, use your G7th chord. Or if you're an experienced, if you already know the G chord, and some of you may already know the G chord, feel free to play G. It has a little different sound. So for example, G sounds like this, G7th sounds like this. Just it's a subtle difference. All right. But let's use these three chords together. The strum pattern is just 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're all down strokes. Next time we'll start working on strum pattern that has up strokes, where we're not pressing downward on strings. We're actually going to pull upward, brush upward. But for now, we're just going to use our thumb and go downward, okay, with our thumb. And this song, if you haven't heard it before, it goes something like this. So don't worry, C chord, about a thing. Because every little thing, F chord, is going to be all right. It's back to C chord. Sing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. All right, so let's try that first part again. So all we're using is the C chord and the F chord. We're doing a downstroke on every beat. So we're not just going to do a downstroke every time the chord changes. We're going to do a downstroke on 1, 2, 3, 4. Downstroke, 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 downstroke. So don't worry about a thing, still on C, because every little thing, we're on F, is going to be all right. Move back to C. Sing and don't worry about a thing, because every little thing, there's F, is going to be all right. Rise up this morning and we're going to use the G7th chord. G7's coming up. Smiled with the rising sun. 3 little birds back to C. Pitch by my doorstep. Singing sweet songs back to C. Melodies. Now go to G7. Pure and true. Saying back to F. This is my message to you. So don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Sing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. G7, 3 little birds back to C. Pitch by my doorstep. F, singing sweet songs with melodies pure and true. G7, singing the F chord. This is my message to you. We'll wind up on a C, and we'll go back to the beginning. So don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing, F chord, is gonna be alright. So don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. All right, and that's the end of that. All right, cool. How did that go for folks? Any questions? That seem all right? Yeah, really simple song, and so you can play that song really simply, and then as we go along, we can add more complicated strums. We can add more interest on the strums, the little sort of like riffs and things like that we can do with our left hand to make it even cooler. So, but it's nice to start there. So